This Saturday, talkSPORT brings you live commentary of the heavyweight clash between Itauma and Dillian White out in Saudi Arabia.
A lot of people are basically just saying, like, yeah, I'm going to knock him out.
Itauma can take him out right now.
And, like, I probably would.
Everyone tells me that he is the future.
This kid is going to be the next face of British boxing.
I've said this from the beginning, from when he was 18, 19. He's it. He is it.
Moses Itauma!
I keep proving people wrong, and it's kind of weird. I'm going to have to prove them right this time.
The fight should continue. Moses Itauma!
Ready to dust up and have it.
This fight here, make a break.
Let's go! I'm ready!
Oh yeah, it's just about upon us. Itauma against White. We eagerly await this one. I know this fella does. Joining Simon and myself this lunchtime in studio, 3-weight world champion turned talkSPORT pundit. We managed to turn him. talkSPORT pundit Duke McKenzie joins us live in studio. Duke, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Good to see you, champ.
You love talking boxing, and I've seen you do it with the man Jordan on Talk Boxing. You love your sport. You love being able to talk about it still, Duke.
I love boxing. It's my life. It's been my life since the age of 13. So I'm 62 now, and I think to myself, it's what I've done. It's who I am. It's my identity.
Yeah, you don't look 62, Duke.
Yeah, I keep fit. I do one jog a week. I do one gym session a week, but I'm consistent with it. Do you see what I mean? I don't miss a week. Even in the winter, I just carry on. And you got to look after yourself as you get older, don't you?
See, Simon, dedication.
Absolutely.
It's good, isn't it?
Simon's dedicated.
Thank you, Jim.
He's a fit guy.
Indeed.
Itauma White, how do you see this playing out, Duke?
It's a good fight. It's a sort of fight that really Itauma should be taking at this stage in his career. He's had a dozen fights, right? And you can't risk him too much. And when you look at Dillian White and where he's come from and where he's been, he's been there, seen it and done it. And there's a lot of miles on the clock now, as I'm sure we're all well aware. And when I listen to Dillian White talk now, he sounds tired. He sounds almost not fed up. That's not the right word, but he's tired with it all. He's been there. He's seen it.
Disillusioned.
I don't know if disillusion is the right word, Simon. He just seems really fed up. Do you see what I mean? Like he can't be bothered with it all. And I think
Have you seen a different in his reaction as the week's gone on? Because obviously there's a lot of noise. I've seen him push back against some of the narrative. Obviously, he didn't like being called a baby snatcher by the announcer, which made no sense whatsoever. But he has been pushing back and saying that all you lot are writing me off, all you so-called experts, some of you that have never laced up gloves. It's done. He's a Superman. Is that what you mean by when he sounds dispirited?
Yeah.
Or is it just a general disposition that he has full stop?
No. I think by talking like that, and, saying to everybody, you've never done it and, you don't know what it feels like. That I can remember being in probably my last one or two fights, and that was pretty much the attitude I'd had. Do you see what I mean? You get to a point where you just go, I've kind of just had enough. Can't be bothered to do it all again. The pushing, the shoving, the table flipping, all that sort of thing. I'll just try and do what I can on fight night.
What do you make of it that he seems to be... I mean, the reports coming out of Saudi from Spencer and others and lots of people around him is that he's in really good nick physically, in the best shape they've seen him in before, i.e. really toned, lighter than he's been before. I mean, that to me means he wants to perhaps keep out of the way and be able to move. I mean, what do you make of that side of the argument?
Dillian White will have to try his best to make this fight go for as long as he can. But in doing so, his body just won't carry him anymore. It's okay, running, and it's okay going to the gym and get yourself in the best kind of possible shape. But when you get to his age and you've had that many fights, it's taxing on the body. It's really tiring. Maybe that's why he's talking the way that he does, because he's tired with it. Do you see what I mean?
That is a very interesting take on it. Have a listen to this, actually, Duke. Following what Duke is saying there, Dillian White, of course, has been in conversation with our lads out in Saudi. Judge for yourself. How does he sound to you? This is White.
This is a huge step up for him. Where
Really?
Like, it's what for. Absolutely, for Moses Itauma, this is a huge step up.
I don't think so. Everyone's got into you and your other colleague and the other professional people is nothing. It's a walk in the park for Moses. People say I get blow in 1 or 2 rounds. That's you guys are the professional. You're the real champion. I'm nothing. So I think a step up for to be honest.
Is he at it there, Duke?
I think so.
Is he playing mind games there?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, because like I say, when I listen to Dillian there, he sounds, like I say, almost fed up. Doesn't want to do the press conferences, doesn't really want to have to talk about the fight anymore. He's been there, seen it and done it. I feel that his only hope, as we're all well aware, is that if he can get lucky, you know. He really could. It's highly unlikely because Moses Itauma has already said he's got a game plan. The game plan for him has to be to take Dillian White into the later rounds, you know, round 6, round 8 of the fight. And by then, Dillian White should have had the living daylights punched out of him and probably get stopped around that mark.
Do you think that's the game plan for them to take Dillian into the later stages of the fight? I mean, ultimately, what we've seen from Moses Itauma is everybody gets in a ring with him, gets knocked out and gets knocked out pretty quick. Now, I know that the only strategy won't be just to knock someone out, but conventional wisdom looks at it and goes, Itauma gets people out fast. Are you saying that they've now trying to add a layer to him, or they're giving Dillian White due respect, or what is it you're saying?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. They're trying to give him the respect that he deserves. He's a puncher, if nothing else, Dillian White. He can hit really hard, and you never lose your punch power. Doesn't matter how unfit or fit you are. As a heavyweight, you never lose your power. So they'll be giving him quite a lot of respect, I would imagine. If they don't, more fool them. But I feel that Moses Itauma will get to him from about the halfway mark.
If you're Dillian, though, think about the other side of the argument, right? Everyone is raving about Moses Itauma. Everyone is talking about him. He's the young man on the block. He's the next superstar. He's being anointed by all of us as the next superstar. You've raised questions about things he's got to learn before he gets to that stage. Aren't you sitting there as the older fella going, oh, well, what am I here for then? Isn't that an element of that? Wouldn't you be a little bit peed off with the fact that it's the Moses Itauma show, and I'm the former world title challenger. I'm the guy that was number 1 in the rankings for WBC belt for years and years and was avoided and didn't get my mandatory opportunities. I'm now being talked about like I'm chopped liver.
Yeah,
you'd be a little bit like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose so, Simon. I mean, like I say, when you listen to Dillian, there's no spark in him anymore.
No, there's no energy. There's no menace, is there?
Exactly. There's no devil about anything that he's saying. You know, you should see Dillian White getting in people's faces and being really leery and being really up for a fight. And
but he wasn't like that when it was Fury. I remember going to the Fury press conference, and I think we were there, Jim, weren't we?
Yeah.
And the moment Dillian White walked into that room, I said, "Not a chance in this fight."
Right.
Because it was like he shrunk, physically shrank in the press conference, and that might be because Fury was so dominant at that time, and it was a Tyson Fury press conference, and he was walking around with a microphone, like Michael Buffer. And it might be an element of that. But what do you think? What do you think Dillian's motivation is then? Because I know he's getting paid handsomely for this fight.
Money.
Because he didn't even know that if he wins this fight, from what I understand, he gets installed as a number 1 in the WBO, which means he would have the shot against Joseph Parker for the vacated belt that everyone thinks Usyk's going to have to vacate by not fighting Parker. He didn't even seem to know. So what's the motivation for Dillian? Is it money?
Money. It's got to be money. When you get to his age, you want to cash in and get as much as you can without getting hurt.
You wouldn't pick a time, then, would you?
Yeah, well, no, but I mean,
Exactly.
but by saying that, Moses Itauma is the man to beat in the heavyweight division right now. So, you know, like I say, I think Dillian, after probably 4 rounds, I think his heart will probably go out of it, and by the 6th, 7th, 8th round, fight should be wrapped up. I hope that Moses Itauma doesn't think he can just go out there and walk straight through him. Yeah.
I mean, he's 37 now, Dillian.
Yeah.
You know, he's got into this.
But that's a lot of miles for heavyweight, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's a lot of miles on his clock. You know, when you think of the fights he's had, and the amount of times he's had to sort of, you know,
dig deep.
Yeah, dig deep, prepare, get ready for a fight, and one thing and another. I just feel that Moses Itauma's in the right place at the right time.
Okay, well, Duke, according to Duke, and he knows a thing or two about the sport, of course. After all, 3-weight world champion himself. Dillian White, more or less, it would seem, is just going through the motions here. But by God, he'll need to sharpen up when he faces up to Moses Itauma come the first bell on Saturday night. Simon and myself, in the company of Duke McKenzie, are talking boxing, more specifically the big fight in Saudi Arabia this weekend between Moses Itauma and Dillian White. There is Phil. Can we have more of Duke on the show, please? Duke, would you like to come on more?
Give me a job and I'm here.
No problem, Phil. Duke's in. There is John Webster. Listening to it, Dillian's either playing it down or he's accepted defeat before the fight. I'm shocked to hear that, to be honest, because it's not exactly fighting talk. I say Moses wins in round 3, a KO, to be honest, lads, after hearing what Dillian has been sounding like and hearing Duke's take on it. Duke, you were very interesting on Dillian White a second ago. Let's turn our attention to Moses Itauma. And of course, this lad has nothing to lose. This guy, so much thought of of him, even at this early stage in his career. His record this far, 12-0, and he goes in now against White. So it's youth against experience, but most of the learned people in the world of boxing think that Itauma's going to be too much for White on the night. Itauma's trainer is Ben Davidson, and Ben's been in conversation with Spencer and Gareth A. Davis.
If any other heavyweight was boxing Dillian White, there wouldn't be this, it's a 1 or 2 round job expectation. I don't know where that's come from. Like, if Joseph Parker was boxing him, even if Usyk was boxing him, they wouldn't say, it's a 2 round job. I don't know where that's come from. But we didn't prepare for Dillian White expecting him to turn up like he did against Tete. We were preparing for the best Dillian White. And as Spencer just said there, he's a special talent. And he's not the type of fighter where you need to look at guys and go, we need to try and catch him at the right time. He's good enough to compete with any of them at any point.
So he's ranked 27 in the world on BoxRec at the moment, but you'd put him in with any of the 26 below him.
Yeah, again, it's risk versus reward. So at the time, what do they have to offer? There might be a fight that's just as hard, but the reward's not there. There might be a fight that's just as hard as that one, but there's more reward to gain.
What's the risk in this fight?
Dillian White.
That he's the arch survivor, that he's a proud fighter, that he's shown that he's got something.
Yeah, he's a seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
He's a top quality heavyweight, top fighter, big puncher, a lot of experience. You know, there's lots there.
But Moses has said if he plays to the game plan, and you've heard this as well, Spence, if he plays to the game plan, he doesn't think Dillian makes 12 rounds.
No, I think it's very hard for any heavyweight to get to 12 rounds with him, if I'm honest.
Ben Davidson saying there to Spencer and Gareth A. Davis, it could be any of these guys in and around the scene at the moment. Moses Itauma, do you go with that?
No, I can't go with that. Because he's not proven, he's not tested, he's not the finished article yet. If we're talking about maybe when Moses Itauma's had 20 fights and he's 20-0, and he's been bombing guys out like Dillian White. I mean, there's some other heavyweights in the whole shake-up.
Caballero.
Caballero would give him absolutely life and death. I'm sure he would. But listen, we're talking about the Saturday night's fight, and I mean, like I say, when you look at the other so-called contenders, or the other guys that are in the top sort of 15, there's some big boys in there. There's some decent fights in there, and Caballero is I'd put him right up at the top of that list because that kid can fight. And I think he's only about 30, 31, so his youth's on his side. He's not an old man. He's in his absolutely physical prime. And I'm sure those two will meet at some point in time.
I mean, Simon, Duke, tell me, say Itauma wins on Saturday night, as is anticipated, and who knows, he might get the job done early. What logically would be next for him?
Got to be Parker, isn't it?
Well, that's the thought process, isn't it? Because my understanding of the situation is that Moses is the number 1 in the WBO. Joseph Parker is the interim WBO champion. If Usyk vacates, which he has to make a determination in the next couple of weeks of whether he's going to, then Joseph Parker will fight for the WBO belt and likely against Moses Itauma. And if Moses Itauma goes in and does a very impressive number against Dillian White, then I think Francis and Frank will put him in against Parker. It's an easy fight for them to make because they're both inside their stable. Both of them will take the fight, I suspect. Joe Parker will take the fight, I'm damn sure.
In a heartbeat, he'll take the fight and go into it full of confidence.
Duke, when you look at Itauma, what impresses you most? Is it not the fact that he gets the job done, it's the way he gets the job done. He's a wrecking ball, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a skill set that's not really seen by heavyweights. He'll throw screw shots at you, he'll throw long hooks, short hooks, he'll jab with you when he need to, and he sets everything up really, really well. He's got an old head on young shoulders. So, and he's got a great attitude as well, because he doesn't get carried away by all the pats on the back and all the adulation that everybody's sort of bestowing on him. He's very, very calm. He's very cool, very calculated. And like I say, with the right kind of guidance, he will go all the way. But, I mean, you can't even begin to start talking about Joseph Parker until he's dealt with Dillian White. But, because Joseph Parker brings a whole set of world of problems to him, because he's a mature, grown, seasoned professional, and will take Moses Itauma into the later rounds and could quite easily drown him there.
Regardless of what happens on Saturday night, and this is for both of you guys, after the golden years of Fury and AJ, is there a danger that the British heavyweight boxing scene is heading for a vacuum period?
Of what? Of personality or achievements?
Of both.
I don't think of achievements. I think personality, Fury and Joshua, for different reasons, have bags and bags of charisma. Tyson for what comes out of his mouth, and for Anthony Joshua for his standing, right, for the way he represents himself. But when you've got performance, if Itauma is what we think he's going to be, inside the ring, he could possibly eclipse what those two boys have done. Outside of the ring, commercially and in terms of representation, I think that's going to be challenging for him, unless there's a different side of his personality that we've yet to see. And we'll see some of that coming out in this week because he's headlining. So you'll have seen him having to do press conferences and face-offs and all the stuff that's the stuff of legend that Fury did back in the time when he was running around in his Batman outfit saying dreadful things that created. But it was matched by his performances. Yeah, this boy, I think, and of course you've got Daniel Dubois to come back. Lessons will be learnt from Daniel, and we'll see what else comes in that. You've got Fabio Wardley that might go to a certain level. So there's lots of British heavyweights out there. We're not the old days of Brian London looking up from the canvas, are we?
No, not at all. That's a good point. Someone's made a good point. I think heavyweight boxing, has evolved to a point now where you can almost say the boxers of today are far better than the boxers, the British fighters of yesterday. You know, when you talk about Brian Londons and maybe the Henry Coopers of this world, they weren't the most technically skilled guys in the world. If you look at Moses Itauma against those guys, he's head and shoulders in terms of ability, natural ability. Moses Itauma, he's got the skill set of, say, like a light heavyweight or even a cruiserweight. That his variety of punches for a 20-year-old young man is pretty, it's very, very good.
He absolutely spread-eagled Dempsey McKean. Do you fear for Dillian on Saturday night?
I don't fear for Dillian White because he can carry himself well. I feel that Dillian White will probably get stopped late in the fight. I think he'll probably go over, get knocked down. It'll be a TKO. I don't see him getting knocked clean out.
You don't see it being a totally lights out situation for
No, I don't think he gets knocked clean out. He'll get stopped almost certainly, but I think you get a TKO, not a clean KO.
Depends what he gets drawn into, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he got stopped by Anthony Joshua. There was a lot behind that, wasn't there? Dillian at that time was an angry man about the prestige that Joshua got and he hadn't got. And you remember after the bell, Dillian was swinging punches. Yeah. And then he did get dropped and knocked out, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he could get drawn into that because he is a fighting man. So if Moses Itauma starts sticking it right on him, Dillian is going to put himself in the way of it.
Yeah, yeah. Duke, when you look at the undercard, does it excite you? Nick Ball, Sam Goodman for the featherweight WBA title?
Well, it's like with Nick Ball, it's like they're sort of treading water a little bit. I expect him to win it the weekend again, quite handily. You want to see him in a unification title fight, Nick Ball, because A, he deserves it. B, the other champions out there will give you all the answers that you need to know about Nick Ball. His style is not made for a long career because he's so explosive and he can only fight one way. He's one-dimensional in my opinion, but
It's a hell of a dimension, though, isn't it?
But his dimension is, again, it's off the Richter scale. He's like a little battleship. He's so physically strong and hard. But, those guys can get tamed.
And what on earth might we see between Hrgovic and Adelaide?
Good fight. That's probably fight of the night for me, to be honest with you. That's fight of the night. David Adelaide has got a point to prove. And, this gets him a genuine world ranking, right, if he can beat Hrgovic. And Hrgovic also has a point to prove. Because, when he boxed Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois absolutely handled him and dealt with him, this is his redemption. Needs to get back on the scene, needs to go out there and try and do a good job on your man there. But, it's a good fight. It could be fight of the night.
So, just with you, I'll do it quick fire. Who wins it? Itauma White?
Itauma and Dillian White. Itauma wins in about 8 rounds.
Nick Ball Goodman?
Yeah, that's going to go early. That's like 6 rounds.
And it's going for Nick?
Nick Ball, definitely.
And Hrgovic Adelaide?
Hrgovic Adelaide. I'm going to go Adelaide in about 10.
Oof.
I think he stops in about 10.
We're in for something then, if it goes that way. It's all live, of course, on talkSPORT. The action coming away from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.